And I'm so sorry that they have lost their lives. And Gail's never been anything but good and kind to me.
If you haven't subscribed our channel yet, then subscribe now for daily doses of bone-chilling mysteries to heart-stopping crime cases.
Erin Patterson hosted a lunch for her ex-in-laws, which was already an unusual situation. What followed turned this gathering into a tragic event, with 3 people dead and 1 in critical condition. The question remains, was it a tragic mistake with the wrong ingredients or something far more sinister? Leongatha, a small town in Victoria, Australia, is known for its dairy farms and the annual Daffodil Festival. It is a peaceful place with a population of around 6,000, surrounded by rolling hills and farmlands. However, this serene town was about to gain a different kind of attention. Erin Patterson, a 49-year-old mother of 2, had a varied career path. She once worked as an air traffic controller in Melbourne, later shifting to accounting, and by 2023, she was a stay-at-home mom. Friends described her as highly intelligent, confident, and outspoken, even willing to argue with her boss. In 2006, Erin married Simon Patterson, an engineer and basketball coach. They had 2 children together, but after 15 years, the marriage ended, seemingly on good terms. Despite their separation, Erin invited Simon's parents, Dawn and Gail Patterson, along with Simon's aunt and uncle, Heather and Ian Wilkinson, for lunch on July 29, 2023. Erin served beef Wellington, a classic dish of beef wrapped in pastry with mushroom paste. However, shortly after eating, all 4 guests became violently ill. The next day, they were rushed to the hospital with severe food poisoning symptoms. Within 6 days, tragedy struck. Dawn, Gail, and Heather all passed away in the hospital, while Ian survived, but was left in critical condition requiring a liver transplant. It took him 2 months to recover before being discharged. Miraculously, Erin was perfectly fine, despite claiming she had eaten the same meal naturally. Detectives quickly began investigating. The meal was served at Erin's house, making her the primary person of interest. However, after an initial search and questioning, Erin was released. Experts concluded that the victims were poisoned by death cap mushrooms. These deadly fungi contain a toxin that remains potent even after cooking. Consuming even a small amount can lead to severe symptoms, including liver and kidney failure.
3 people have now died and another is fighting for life after being poisoned by wild mushrooms at a lunch with friends in Gippsland. Homicide detectives are investigating the deaths and have questioned a 48-year-old woman who has now been released.
The only surviving guest was Ian Wilkinson, a beloved local pastor at Korumburra Baptist Church, known for his kindness and generosity. Ian was a respected and well-loved member of the community. When news of the tragedy spread, shock and grief rippled through the small town. People demanded answers. How could something like this happen? The culprit were death cap mushrooms. Death caps tend to grow naturally around oak trees, and there are plenty of them around Erin's house. Death caps are super deadly. Eating just a piece the size of a coin is enough to kill, and the dish served that day was beef Wellington covered in paste made of mushrooms. Dr. Neumeister Kemp, a mycologist and mushroom expert, said, if it was death caps, you'd need about 10 full mushrooms to get enough paste for a dish like beef Wellington. Especially for 5 people, that's quite a bit. The toxin in death caps is no joke, unlike many venoms or toxins that break down with heat, like snake venom. The death caps toxin is heat stable. Cooking doesn't destroy it. It's also water soluble, meaning that once the mushroom is in liquid, some of the toxin can leach into other parts of the food. Dr. Michael Robertson, one of Australia's leading forensic toxicologists, explained the chilling nature of this toxin. One of the fascinating and terrifying things about the death cap toxin is the delayed onset hours after eating it. You still feel perfectly fine, then suddenly it all goes downhill. You might feel fine for 8 to 12 hours after eating one, no big deal, right? But that's only the calm before the storm. When it hits hard, severe nausea, vomiting, and dangerously low blood pressure. Oddly enough, 12 hours later, you'll feel better. You'd think it's over. But you'd be wrong. The real damage starts a day or two later. Kidney failure, liver failure, and intense pain. As every cell in your liver starts dying, Dr. Neumeister Kemp shook her head and said, "Mushroom poisoning is incredibly nasty. There's no real antidote. No injection to fix this for the 3 who died. Their final days would have been nothing short of horrific, if they were conscious through it. Especially in that first phase. It would have been agonizing at the center of this tragedy as, according to Erin, the mushrooms came from an Asian store in Melbourne. She said she had no idea they were dangerous and felt horrible about everything that happened."
Gail was the mum that I didn't have because my mum passed away 4 years ago. And Gail's never been anything but good and kind to me. And Ian and Heather were some of the best people I've ever met. They never did anything wrong to me, and I'm so devastated about what's happened.
Can you tell us
And the loss to the community, and to the families, and to my own children who've lost their grandmother.
As investigators dug deeper, unsettling details about Erin's life began to emerge. After her parents passed away, Erin inherited a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. Erin had a known interest in foraging, including mushrooms. Her home featured unsettling decor, including artwork with phrases like, "I am dead," and "You're dead from my sword." Erin had a difficult upbringing, describing her mother as a cold robot. Shocking revelations suggested this wasn't Erin's first attempt at poisoning. Between 2021 and 2022, Erin allegedly tried to poison her ex-husband Simon 4 times. Simon had been hospitalized multiple times with a mysterious illness that nearly killed him.
And Simon was still wearing his wedding ring just weeks ago, but overnight a bombshell. His former wife had allegedly plotted to kill him a total of 4 times. And she allegedly murdered both his parents, his auntie, and attempted to murder his uncle.
Simon Patterson was hospitalized 3 times with a mysterious illness that nearly killed him. In a Facebook post, Simon recounted the nightmare.
On the day of the fatal lunch, Simon was supposed to attend, but canceled last minute, potentially saving his life. Additionally, Erin had sent her children to the mall during the lunch, and while they ate leftovers, she conveniently scraped off the mushroom paste. Simon mentioned a food dehydrator, a device that can intensify the toxicity of mushrooms when dried. Initially, Erin claimed she had disposed of it long ago. Later, she admitted to dumping it after the lunch, fearing it would make her look guilty. However, the police recovered the device, which became a crucial piece of evidence.
And I'm breathing too, and you guys don't have any respect for that. You don't have any permission to be on my private property or to harass me. This kind of behaviour will send someone to blood and grief.
Erin, how are you going? Are you okay?
I'm going this for asking, and you guys aren't helping.
On November 2nd, 2023, Erin Patterson was arrested and charged with for the deaths of Dawn and Gail Patterson and Heather Wilkinson, including the poisoning of Ian Wilkinson and 4 alleged attempts on Simon's life. Was Erin a sadistic serial killer who planned to eliminate her ex-family? Could it be that she only intended to make them sick, not kill them, as a twisted way to win back her ex-husband? Erin maintains her innocence, claiming she bought the mushrooms from an Asian grocery store, a claim the police and experts heavily dispute. More details started to surface. Erin had once been the editor of a newspaper where she allegedly called the locals ill bastards. She was also an obsessive true crime fan, which added a little too much irony to this whole story. By September 28th, months after the fatal lunch mushroom poisoning was officially confirmed as the cause of death, Erin doubled down on her claim that she bought the mushrooms at an Asian grocery store, but later she said it was actually a mix of mushrooms from 2 different stores, though she couldn't recall which ones. However, all local Asian grocers denied ever having issues with their mushrooms. Then Australia's Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry came forward, a spokesman confirmed. There's no record of death cap mushrooms ever being imported into Australia. He said the mushroom industry here is heavily regulated, double-checked and triple-checked to prevent exactly this sort of thing from happening. The truth behind the Mushroom Massacre remains to be fully uncovered. Was this a tragic accident or a calculated crime? The trial will reveal whether Erin Patterson is an innocent victim of a horrible mistake or a cold-hearted killer. Until then, the small town of Leongatha and the world awaits the final verdict.
If you haven't subscribed our channel yet, then subscribe now for daily doses of bone-chilling mysteries to heart-stopping crime cases.